Hello there everyone and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Should You Pull for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Now today we've woken up and seen that there is a new banner to celebrate the second half of the Abyss beta that we've been given this month. And this time around we're going to be getting Lightning EX again and Garnet EX again along with Sabin on the banner. Now Garnet didn't really get a lot this time around, didn't get a rework or anything, and you know there's just not a lot really to say about it, but I'm sure I'll go over it anyway for anyone who doesn't know what Garnet EX does. But Lightning got a full rework this time around to her Crystal 55 and 60 passive, so we'll be able to take a look at those and to see whether this banner is worth pulling on. So if you want to find out more, then stay tuned and keep on watching. As always, don't forget to check out all of the social links in the description box below, including my Facebook, Twitter, Discord, Patreon, Twitch, and all that other good stuff. Twitch in particular, I will actually be streaming a bit later on as well to showcase some of Lightning stuff because I actually already have Lightning EX. So if you want to see the schedule, it's just appearing on the screen here. And then don't forget to check out DissidiaDB.com and go and support Rem, who creates the website, as it's a fantastic resource for all things Opera Omnia related. And of course, don't forget to check out all of the other Opera Omnia content creators out there as well and go and give them your love and support. So it would seem that Imperiling is the name of the game with this banner, and we'll start by looking at Sabin because he is a character that has two different imperils on him. Up until he got his 55 and 60 passives, he was always like the joke character, like he was horrendous. Like as you can see, all he did was do extra damage to ghost types. That's pretty much it. And then his gear didn't really help him all that much. It just made it so his attacks hit slightly harder and he got some slight buffs out of it. And then his passives came along, and I'm not going to lie to you, he's still not great. He's still pretty duff, and like in terms of relativity to every other character. But he does have something that a lot of other characters don't have, which is access to two different imperils. And with Aura Cannon, he gets a Holy Resist down, and he gets a Brave Attack Plus that comes from that. And then he gets a sort of AoE HP attack, which off of Razor Gale, which also inflicts a Wind Resist down, which is kind of nice. And you know, if you're really struggling for farming characters, like you don't have a Setzer or a Squall, etc., then I guess you could use Sabin for something like that. But ultimately speaking, Sabin's pretty rough, up until he gets his EX Plus at least. Now Garnet's EX returns on this banner. Now Garnet is a really weird character in that her kit just seems to be a little bit all over the place and it doesn't really have much of an identity of its own. Like she really wants to be a support character that does damage, but she doesn't excel at anything, and because she's an early EX that didn't get a rework this time around, it's not the strongest EX out there. She's not the strongest kit. She's a bit of a letdown, to be honest, and it really upsets me to say that because I don't like saying that about any Final Fantasy IX character, but she's just not up to scratch with a lot of characters. But we'll have a look at her kit anyway. So again, like Sabin, what she has access to is the ability to have Water Resist down and Thunder Resist down on her attacks, which she actually gets from her weapons, I believe. Yeah. So she gets like a Thunder Resist down to your opponent's party and a Water Resist down to your opponent's party by having access to Aquamarine, Water Glint and Peridot Thunderflash, which give her a Brave attack and an HP attack plus with that are named, so that she has access to just group AoE damage all through, like pretty much all the way through her kit. And then with her 55 and 60 passive, basically they do more damage and she gets an HP attack that comes off of her Peridot Thunderflash and Aquamarine Water Glint, so that she can do more supporty type things where she'll get a like her Dragon Wave, which is her water based one, gives ally bravery after she's done the HP attack, whereas Peridot Thunderflash does it sort of like one before she does the HP attack. It's a little bit weird, but she kind of does a lot of different ways of doing the same thing, which is kind of weird. She doesn't have any kind of party buffs, which is sad. She doesn't have it, which is weird considering she's trying to be a support character, which we'll get to when I get to her EX. And then looking at said EX, Asura's Rod is like the most simple yet not like niche EX there is out there, if you ask me. Like she's basically, all of her kit does AoE Brave HP damage, like all of it, except for her EX weapon, which is like a weaker version of Ishtola's EX. So it moderately restores all party members' HP, raises all party members' max bravery, and then it gives a framed buff called Sacred Prayer, which enchants water and thunder and grants bravery gen to the party. And then if you look at her limit break versions of the ability all it does is just make it a little bit quicker, makes it so that you get less action delay, and raises the bravery gain and HP recovery. That's kind of it. Like, the water enchant and thunder enchant along with the imperils is nice, I guess. But you've got other ways of doing that. If you just pull Viridia, you're going to have a much better source of water resistant, water imperil and water enchant. Thunder you don't really need much of for a while, and then lightning is going to get that further down the line when that becomes relevant anyway. In all honesty, while Garnet's kit is cute, I just don't think that you're ever going to need any of it, to be quite honest. Now, suffice to say, I've been really excited for this particular rework because I'm a huge Lightning fan. I absolutely adore the character, and I can't wait to actually pull her out because I actually got Lightning's EX the first time around, so I can tell you where my should you pull would lie on this banner pretty quickly. But honestly, I think that she actually got quite a nice little overhaul this time around, and she's a bit more exciting than some of the ones with the other reworks we've had, like Squall. Squall's good, don't get me wrong, but I really like what they've done with Lightning, though. Do me a favour and at least consider buying this costume because it's everything. And if you have Overture, it just goes, it's perfect. I mean, we don't get Lightning in the Louis Vuitton outfit, but if we ever did, I would pay good money for that. Anyways, going back to the abilities themselves, if you're not sort of aware of how Lightning works, what she does is she has two different modes that she goes into by using her two abilities. So she has Ravager mode, which she goes into by using Spark Strike, and she has Commando mode, which she goes into by using Flourish of Steel. And then going into one cancels out the other, and then depending on which mode you're in, you get slightly different buffs and slightly different sort of abilities available to you. But the problem that she always had is that she just didn't do very much damage, weirdly, for a character like Lightning. She actually didn't do very much damage, and all of her sort of abilities were quite lackluster. Spark Strike didn't have an HP attached to it. Flourish of Steel was good, but then she'd eat up all of the turns available, and then it was just really irritating. Certainly going into co-op with Lightnings, where you just end up seeing the same Lightning using Flourish of Steel over and over and over again until she runs out of all her abilities, and then it's just, well, she's not doing anything. But what they've done with this time around is they've made it so that her buffs, her Ravager and Commando buffs, actually have stacks which come off of using her abilities. Spark Strike now is a Brave HP attack, which makes it significantly better. Like, I cannot stress enough how glad I am that Spark Strike has an HP attack. So if you use Spark Strike, then you'll get your Ravager buff as normal, but if you use Spark Strike again, or the Brave attack or HP attack that you're now granted from it, so they're plus versions themselves, you actually get a second stack of Ravager, which doesn't actually increase your stats any further, but makes it so that the next Flourish of Steel that you use is significantly stronger and has 150% max bravery, which means that it's just a much stronger attack. So, you know, basically you want to kind of stick in one role for a couple of turns and then shift to the other one, which means that in a weird roundabout way, Lightning's longevity has just increased exponentially because she now wants to stay in a mode for at least longer than a turn. And the same applies to the Commando mode as well. So she'll get a Brave Attack Plus and an HP Attack Plus off of using them, which give her more bravery before she does a Brave HP attack. Her Brave Attack Plus is just a much stronger buff, but they'll increase your Commando stack by 1 so that you get to Commando 2, which then means that your Spark Strike is going to do more damage. And it's also going to have 120% max bravery, and it'll also mean that she gets bravery back after she uses it, which basically it just means she gets all these lovely little quality of life changes that make it so that she just can go on for a lot longer. And because her EX was so good, it's really nice to see that her kit now complements the rest of her. Speaking of Lightning's EX, if you're not aware of Army of One, it's a really good ability. It's very overloaded. It has a lot of different little tricks that it can do. You can cheese opponents with it. It does a lot of really nice things. So it's a 1-hit Brave HP attack, 2-hit Brave HP attack, and then another 2-hit Brave HP attack. And then it heals her a little bit. If you overheal, then you get bravery instead. And most importantly, you get a turn delay or 2 turn delays if you get. Well, I say most importantly, it's not. It's actually one of the it's just an extra thing that's even more handy about it. There's a lot of really nice things about this ability. It'll delay your opponent by a turn, 2 turns if you're in Ravager when you use it, because you'll get Army of 1 Plus instead. So do try and circumvent yourself into Ravager before you use it, because as much as you'll do slightly less damage than you would if you were in Commando, delaying your opponent by 2 turns is really good. And then you get Knight of Etro, which gives her Thunder Enchant, it raises her attack, and it also turns it into object where if you break an opponent, you get a free turn that doesn't increase the turn count. And it also means that the next ability use you have doesn't consume immediate ability use. So, like I said, there are a lot of things going on with Army of One. Like a lot. So what Lightning is a very, very strong single target sort of boss killer. She's there to just do a lot of damage to one thing. She's not nearly as good when you're having to kill multiple bosses or have lots of targets. She's not so great with the trash waves, although the fact that she has brave HP attack pluses that are relevant now does help that quite a lot. She's there to do a lot of damage to one target. If you have Vayne with her, then it's overkill. You'll never really need to use Vayne and Lightning in the same team, but if you do, then your opponent's just not going to get turns very frequently, and you're going to get a lot of damage in while you're at it. So she is useful. Whether you need her or not is debatable and dependable on what other units you have. Something I quickly will touch on before we go on to like future banners and things like that and ending the video is Lightning's EX Plus, which was recently released in JP. It's a good one. It's a really good one. Like, Army of One is already loaded to the eyeballs, and she gets a lot more from it. She gets a lot. So basically, it does more damage. It now inflicts the Thunder Resist down, which is massive because when I said this banner was like all Imperil based, it is, but Lightning doesn't have hers yet. But when she does get it, it's at the time where Imperiling is really quite relevant, and obviously she enchants herself with Thunder with Knight of Etro. So she's off the bat, she's straight away in there with the Thunder Imperil, Thunder Enchant. She's just going in on the Thunder weakness. It's really nice. She also gets 150% max Bravery Overflow on Army of One, which means that she'll play much nicer with batteries and things like that, so it'll work really nicely with things like that. She gets slightly more attack and max bravery. She gets Knight of Etro at the start of the quest, which is really nice, and then doesn't consume her ability use on the first turn. Doesn't have a turn count increase. It's like she's just used Army of One, and that she's ready to go into it again. She gets the EX bar pretty filled up, very high. But the last one on her EX Plus basically just cracks Army of One wide open even further by turning her into a pseudo Vayne. The best thing about Vayne is that his Force of Will cancels the break status before it hits, or like midway through it hits. So it means that you get to break a broken target, and Army of One does that. Bear in mind it already has delay on it. It also gets a lot more hits, so instead of 1, 2, 2, it goes 2, 3, 4, so that's a lot more brave attacks loaded in there as well. She gets HP attack plus as well as for her Commander and her Ravager, which do a lot more damage and still increase her stack, so she just plays a lot more fluidly, and Army of One just becomes even more overloaded than it was before. Now, with regards to future banners, Lightning doesn't return as often as you might think. Now, she does come around with a new beginning gacha that comes alongside Cloud and Squall, but by that time you're probably not going to be using Lightning all that often. She will have fallen off very quickly. This is the thing with Lightning. The fact that we got her rework a little bit earlier than we were supposed to, as with regards to JP's timeline, means that she looks really overinflated now, but she will fall off. We're just on the cusp of level 70, which admittedly isn't as big a power jump from 60 as 60 was to 50, but it's still a power jump, and with Noctis coming soon, there's going to be a lot of characters that, Warrior of Light, Cloud again, there's a lot of characters that are going to be coming that are going to really kind of overshadow Lightning a little bit. But when her EX Plus comes around, which is not for quite some time, it will be during her Lost chapter, she'll get, or during this banner, sorry, with Shadow and Hope, she gets her EX Plus and she really comes into her own. And this banner is actually exceptional anyway. I am going to try my hardest not to pull at all through the EX Plus era because I have quite a lot of EXs already. But if you don't have Lightning EX, then this banner might actually be worth waiting for, because it depends entirely on what you have. If you have Vayne already, you don't need Lightning. They do very similar things. Lightning is strong. I don't think she's quite as good as he is, because he restores ability uses, whereas Lightning's will eventually go down all the way to 0, and because she hogs turns quite so much, that does happen with some frequency. And then this banner comes along, and this is the banner that breaks her anyway. And then she comes along with Hope, who's already really powerful at EX+. And Shadow, who, well, everybody really wants Shadow because the Interceptor, and that's fine. And he is still really good. So this banner might actually be worth waiting for, because while Lightning is good, the rest of her banner's not. And she might just be a little bit unnecessary. Once again, a massive shout out to Ink Welder and the Tombury Trick for their work on their delightful infographics. And we have one for Lightning right here for you to have a look at. So if you want to pause the video and then quickly look at that, then you can do. But I'll quickly go over some of the pointers that they make. She's finally turn efficient. But I do agree that you want to pair her up with auras rather than batteries, because she takes so many turns so quickly that her buffs will just run out really quickly, and any battery that you would have given her will just get used in the first use, and then she'll take another turn and not get any benefits out of it. Sarah is an exception to this if you manage to get good artifacts for her, because while she's a buffer, she's also an aura. So you kind of get the best of both worlds with her. So, I mean, Sarah and Lightning, I'm looking forward to using my team Pink Ladies by having Lena, Sarah and Lightning, and I've been looking forward to using that team for absolutely ages since I got all 3 of their EXs, so I'm going to be making full use of that team, that's for sure. And then giving a sort of like more regen in Ravager is really nice, so Lena pairs up really well with her, funny that. But while she has a solid rework, which has no real issues, she's a DPS, which means she's easy to power creep, which is true. As I said, if you have characters like Vayne, you're not going to need Lightning because she gets power crept so quickly, and she has like a lot of different things that she does, so her roles might overlap your plans, as so is said by Ink Welder. So ultimately, do I think that this banner is worth pulling on for Lightning EX, Garnet EX, and Sabin? I mean, yes, because any reason that there is for anyone to purchase that costume is absolutely fine with me. Do not worry, you spend your money on this game, I support you. I bought that costume long ago. But all jokes aside, the banner's a weird one. Like, it's good. Like, Lightning is very strong right now, but Garnet is extremely lackluster at this point in time. Like, you'll use her once or twice and then never use her again. She doesn't have an EX plus in JP even. So by the time she does, you'll be able to pull for her then, because if they're gonna, oh my god, they're gonna break her, then you might as well wait for that, because you won't be pulling for her on this. If you happen to get her while you're chasing Lightning, if you really want to chase Lightning, then great. Then you have an extra EX in your kit, but ultimately you're not going to use it very often. Sabin is pants, we all know this. He's just not very good. He has some imperil tricks, but so does Garnet, and I've just said that she's not great, so if she's not and she has an EX, why on earth would Sabin be? So is Lightning enough to warrant pulling on this banner as it is? Probably not. Like, you could probably get away with it. Like, she's really good. Like, I've sat there and sung her praise about how amazing she is, and she's not. She is amazing now, but she'll fall off quickly, and then by the time she's amazing again, she comes back on a much nicer banner. So if you really need a single target damage dealer and you missed out on Vayne for whatever reason, then yeah, you could go in for Lightning, and I really hope that you get lucky on her, and I really hope that you'll use her for the time that she's relevant for. But if you already have Vayne, you know, and Zac, and other damage dealers like Renoa and stuff like that, then for the Cosmos era, you're not going to need Lightning. She's really good, but you don't need her. So take that for what you will. Some people will want to pull on this banner because they missed out on Vayne. Other people will not because they've got Vayne, or they just, you know, if you're a massive fan of Lightning, then go all in like me. Like, I mean, I got Lightning EX the first time it came around, so if you're a really big Lightning fan, you've probably already got Lightning EX, and everything I'm saying, you should just tell me to shut up. But ultimately, I want to say no, I think. Like, I think you can skip this banner. At worst, I would wait until the community stream to see what we have coming over the next month, because obviously Lightning's still going to be live during that period of time, and therefore you don't need to worry too much about rushing to get her to finish the Abyss beta, because it's a permanent fixture. You might miss out on a couple of tickets if you wait too long, but that's not the end of the world either. But just basically, I'd say wait until the community stream before deciding, ultimately, unless you're a massive fan of Lightning, at which point you pulled for Lightning long before you watched this video, so I wouldn't worry too much. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you ever so much for watching, and if you do pull for Lightning EX and Garnet EX, then I wish you all the best of luck. And you know, if you're saving all of your gems and everything, then let me know in the comments below who you're using for the new Abyss beta banner. I actually have only just woken up, so I haven't had much chance to look at the Abyss sort of content itself just yet, but I will be streaming it this morning as well, so if you have time, then definitely come and check out the Twitch stream. And that's going to be it from me. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll speak to you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.